everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome to the start of another weekend reading vlog of some sort. I don't know how much reading will get done, but hopefully a lot. So it is Friday and it's like 11 o'clock and I just left the doctor. So if you are triggered at all by like medical stuff, cancer scares, any of that, skip ahead a few seconds. I'm not going to talk about it long, but I had a lump and so I went to the doctor and just got like a sonogram on it. And thank you, Jesus, it is nothing. It is a bend in my blood vessel and it's trying to split there or something. I don't know. So it is nothing, but it was the like quirkiest little place, like radiology place I have ever been. Like they had a frog planter and they still had their Christmas tree up, which I like for my house don't love, but in public, I'm like, whatever, I like that. And it made me feel happy. So, it was just a really reassuring thing to see that it's nothing. And by golly, you guys, this postpartum period has been a doozy. Like there's just been a weird thing after weird thing pop up. And he said, because I'm nursing, that things like that can happen with blood vessels and things. I don't know. So glad it's nothing. And that's that. So that's what I have been doing for the past hour. Now I just went to Walgreens and picked up some pictures for the kids' scrapbooks. And I think I'm going to run, there's a Chinese place like right over there. So I'm going to run and grab some lunch and go home. And I'm just kind of like enjoying a few minutes of quiet, especially I've been like worried about this. And so it's just nice to like be able to celebrate that it's nothing. And in fact, I bought myself a treat in Walgreens and got diet root beer. I like don't ever really drink soda just because it weirds me out that like I have no idea what's in here, but this was an impulse buy. It sounded delicious and I cannot wait to crack it open. So treat yourself. This is 31. Like I got excited the other day because I went to Target and bought myself a couple bowls and 79-cent bowls, mind you. And then today it's like, this is treating myself. So it's just fun. It's a little thing. So as far as reading goes, last night I read Forever Wild, which is the 2.5 in the Simple Wild series, I guess. I don't know if it's going to be how much it's going to be, but it is book 2.5, and I have like intentionally avoided listening to people talk about it because I don't want to be spoiled for a novella. Like if you hear anything, you probably are going to be quote unquote spoiled because it's so fast. But so in avoiding like listening to everybody talk about it, means I had no idea that it is like a straight up Christmas book. So I won't say a whole lot because I loved The Simple Wild. Let me say that. I loved The Simple Wild. Wild at Heart, I didn't really like. And so this one I was like, hesitant to pick it up. And we find Calla and Jonah where we left off at the end of Wild at Heart. And I mean, I guess, again, if you have not read any of this and don't want to be spoiled at all with where they end up, skip ahead a little bit more. But so basically they are engaged and their parents are both coming to town for Christmas, and they're supposed to get married in Toronto like sometime in the future. They have not set a date yet, and so there's a lot of pressure from the parents to set a date, etc., etc. And Jonah's like, hey, let's just get married here while they're here, make it something super small. So they agree and do that, and it's Jonah's mom and stepdad, and Jonah has some beef with his stepdad, so there's some drama there. It's also the mom and Simon, which is the stepdad there, but that's all good. The mom's just Calla's mom's a little bit much. But anyway, so they have the wedding, and then at the end, there's a surprise that I'm sure you know what it is. So it was fine. If you love Calla and Jonah and that story, then I think this would be a great little novella to pick up. It's like 150, 160 pages. It does not take long to read at all, and it is nice to put you back in that world. So I think I'm going to give it 3 stars just because it was nothing exceptional, but it was still good, and it's based around Christmas. So if you didn't read it this year, maybe save it for next year. I don't know. Does somebody know, is she planning on coming out with book 3 or like extending this, or is this the end? I'm assuming based on the ending of this one that there's going to be more, but I don't really know. So that is what I read. And then I picked up Saving Grace by Jane Green. And Jane Green is somebody I don't hear anybody talk about on booktube or Instagram or anything. And maybe it's because I don't know if she's published anything super lately, but she is a British women's fiction author. And her books, they range from like being kind of chick lady light to having deeper issues. And this one I would say is one of the deeper ones. So this one is about a woman named Grace. She is a chef, and she like I guess they had a kid. Her and her husband had a kid, and she kind of like wanted to not reinvent, but like find something for her. So she didn't go to culinary school until after she had her kid, and she was a little bit older, etc. And so she is a chef, and she is married to this uber famous writer. And like I am in my head thinking almost like a James Patterson, like he really, really, really had his heyday and now is still popular, but not to the same extent. But he is almost like this like famously loved person, but behind closed doors, he's actually really abusive and has anger management issues. Like we don't see a whole lot of physical abuse yet, but he's very, very like explosive, and he has got very bad anger management issues. And so it's their relationship, it's her, she is like just trying to tiptoe and eggshell, and like right now I'm like, girl, get out, you don't need that. Like her daughter is grown and etc. And it's like, you just do not need that. And she is very passive right now. And so I'm really hoping we see some good character growth with her, and she figures out how to like stand up for herself. And his assistant has been with them forever, and now she's leaving because her mom is sick, and so she's got to go home to be with her mom. And so our main character Grace is kind of taken over being his like publicist, all of the things, as well as his wife. So she's really the brunt of everything. And so we'll see how it goes. I really have high hopes. Jane Green is one that I typically really enjoy, but this one, our main character is so passive right now that if she doesn't have some great character growth, I'm not going to like this. So we'll see where it goes. So I'm going to go home. I just talked to Ainsley. For some reason, she has been she's always been a very big mama clinger, but lately if I leave, she's really upset. So we talked the whole ride to the doctor, and then I came up with a fun project for her. They called as soon as I was done. And so I'm gonna go home and be with her. But Jeremy said she is still eating breakfast, and it's like 11 o'clock. So I'm hoping I'm gonna get to eat lunch by myself, because you guys, like, eating lunch with these two children is so stressful. And I've told you guys before, but like I feel like an octopus. Like one of them constantly needs something, and maybe I need to like get them bigger plates and just load them up. But then we have wasted food. So I don't know what to do, because sure as the sun, like she loves oranges today, hates them tomorrow. And Annie's kind of the same way. So kids, guys, you know, and so that's everything. Hey everyone, it is Saturday and it's like 3 o'clock, and today has been such a busy day. So it started at 4:30 this morning. Annie decided to get up, and so then she just is like so into talking and hearing her own voice. So I brought her in with me because I was so tired. I just wanted to like lay and feed her. So I brought her in, and she talked until 6 o'clock this morning. And so then I'm finally like, all right, kid, like I'm putting you in your room. I'm getting up. Let's just do this. So we did, and she went back to sleep, of course, at 6. So I guess she just needs to be by herself. I don't know. Co-sleeping maybe is not a thing for her because she just wants to chat. So I got up and worked out, and then got the kids up, and then I made some soup in the crock pot and some bread for tonight, and some breakfast, some baked oatmeal. So I just got all those kind of things done. And then I filmed a TGI Friend Day that was so fun. And so that was just great and life-giving. And that was my whole morning. So that's really everything as far as life goes. This afternoon, I don't know what we're going to do. The kids are in their rooms. Neither are asleep right now. So I'm going to film a couple things, and then I'm going to get them up and just go on with the day. So that is the plan. As far as reading goes, the one thing I forgot to say about Forever Wild that I really wanted to say was, if you are a fan of Roy, or really any of the friends. If he's the kind of grumpy guy, and then there's also kind of the over-involved girl. The friends are huge in this, especially Roy. He is, there's like a story of him and his daughter, and yeah, so his part is good, and I really like that. Calla, I'm not sure if I love Calla. She's kind of annoying, and she really inserts herself in places that I don't know that she necessarily belongs, but that's neither here nor there. So I just wanted to say, if you're a fan of his and want more than just romance, there is that storyline going on too. So there's that. So today I finished Everybody Always by Bob Goff. And this is what I was buddy reading with Krista from Books and Jams. And it's Becoming Love in a World Full of Setbacks and Difficult People. So at its core, this book is about loving people and God the way that Jesus taught us to. So loving people well, loving God well, etc., etc. Great things. And I thought I was really going to like this book because that is a message that I just really like to hear over and over and over about how to love people better and how to love people wholeheartedly. And just the way Jesus loved is amazing and unearthly. So I thought this would be really great. But I kind of have the same problem with this book that I did with the other Bob Goff book I read, and he just speaks in such over exaggerated, hyperbolic language that both his stories are like way, 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 way over the top, as well as just like his normal, like, speech. So there's one part where he's talking about like he puts his socks on two at a time and puts his shoes on while he's running and all this stuff that's like that's not possible. Like you're just trying to make a point and you're being so like over the top exaggerating that it makes it like a little less credible when he's telling the stories. It's like, okay, are these stories 100% true, or are you just trying to make a point? Regardless, his life is so extraordinary, and like he has privilege beyond privilege beyond privilege that he doesn't necessarily recognize in this book. And so Krista and I talked. We were reading 2 chapters a day, and we decided just to power through it this weekend because we're both kind of over it. Because as many times as I was going to highlight something, I would have like 7 eye rolls to go with that because there was just a lot of things that it was like, come on, like that's too much. So this one I gave 3 stars. I'm not sure if I am confident in that rating, but it was okay. There were definitely bits that I gleaned out of this, but overall not the best. Then I also finished Saving Grace by Jane Green. Same story here, you guys. It's 2.5 stars, and I really like Jane Green. This one just missed the mark for me. So this one I feel like really must have had like really quick editing or minimal editing or something. Because one, it's like 400 pages, which is just too long for this story. 2, the tone was really confusing because this book is about a woman in an abusive marriage. It deals with mental health. It deals with all sorts of addiction. It deals with all sorts of really hard topics. But then it also tries to like weave in recipes and things that like feel like a more light and fluffy kind of contemporary women's fiction. Like the tone at times just felt very off. And like there's friend groups and stuff that it was like, wait, are they supposed to be like how am I supposed to feel? I don't really know. And also there's inconsistencies as far as like she only has 1 child, but multiple times they say like kids or their car or things in reference to the kids, and she's only got 1 kid, so that's a little weird. And just inconsistencies. There's inconsistencies with ages and just inconsistencies. I feel like this book could have used more editing. So like I talked about, Grace is a woman who is a chef, and she's married to an author who used to be like this Mr. Big Time. Now he's kind of struggling to stay relevant. He's got this really bad anger management issue, etc., etc. His assistant is about to leave, so she has to find a new one. So she finds this girl who's like maybe too good to be true. And she is just so helpful and does everything, and it's wonderful and great. But Grace feels like there's just something off. And Grace also has like a dual storyline of some baggage she has with her mother. So her mother suffered from bipolar disorder, and as well as a whole bunch of addictions that left her at the end of her life homeless and just at rock bottom. And she died when Grace was like in her early 20s. And so Grace has kind of lived in fear of becoming like her mother. And so
Grace starts to have a downward spiral throughout this book. So she does get diagnosed with bipolar disorder. She gains a bunch of weight, etc., etc., etc. Her life is crumbling. One of my biggest complaints with this book, 100%, is it is not kind to anybody with bipolar disorder. It is not kind to mental health. I think there's a lot of fat shaming, a lot of stigma put on bipolar disorder, and I just felt really disgusted reading this at times because she was painted as this super, and they're like, oh no, you can't have bipolar disorder, you're not that crazy, basically is the notion that was put forward in this book. And I had a really hard time reading it because that is not what bipolar disorder is. This was not kind. It was very hurtful, very not helpful, and I really didn't like that. So, like I said in the beginning, Grace is this super big pushover toward her husband. She tiptoes around his anger management issues, and I just wanted her to like girl power, rally, get out of there. But as she like goes down this downward spiral, she's so like, she's gaining a bunch of weight. The assistant is losing a bunch of weight, and there's a clear like symbolic juxtaposition or like reference to that being power. And so as she's gaining weight, she's becoming less and less powerful, and the assistant's becoming more and more powerful, and that focus on weight and body image and things was disgusting. I mean, it was very like, and she like started to get her power back when she started to lose weight, and I just really didn't like that. So then like by the time the book wrapped up, I was like, I don't even care if she is girl powered, like doing her thing, because I don't like her. She is not a good person. And so 2.5 stars on this. I did not love it. Also, I had the audiobook from Hoopla, and Jane Green narrates it herself. And so I love that with memoirs. Like if an author narrates their own memoir, love it, love it, love it. When an author narrates their book, sometimes you are meant to be an author and sometimes you are meant to be a narrator. And some people can do both and not everybody can. And so I would say she is one that maybe should not narrate a whole bunch. So that was annoying, but I was disliking this book so much that I knew I couldn't get through it physically, so I stuck with the audio and just finished it out 2.5 stars. So far my January has been rough. I've had 1 3.5 stars. The rest have all been 3 or 2.5 or 2, and so that is not great. But the way I see it is I'm clearing a lot off my shelves. So that is really good. And like my unhaul for this month will hopefully be great. So that is that. So as far as reading goes now, I don't know what I'll pick up next. I'm kind of just like not in the mood to even think about it. So I don't know. We'll see. I will check in tomorrow and let you know what I picked. Hey everyone, it is Sunday at like 1 o'clock, and we have just been going this morning, and it's been really like great, but also like just kind of like trying to keep up, which I feel like I say every single day. So I really think like I'm starting to realize I think that's just me. Like I think I'm just like go, kind of chicken with my head cut off all day, every day anyway. So this morning, like the kids slept in a little bit, and you would think like that I would get a lot done in the morning, but I just didn't, because again, like Annie's doing this 4:30 wake up thing, and it's really fun, except it's not. And so then I'm up, and it's just a mess. But I am one of the judges for the RWA, which is the Romance Writers Association. They have awards called the Vivian Awards, and I am one of the judges for those. And so round 1 books were just sent out, and so all we need to do is read the first chapter of those books. So I spent the morning, I worked out and showered and read 4 of my 5 or 5 of my 6. I can't remember how many books I have to read the first chapter of, but I read them and I liked all but one, so that was really exciting. And I like have never done a try a chapter tag, and that like reading the first chapter of all those books kind of made me want to do that, because I was very like, I think for the most part able to tell if I was going to enjoy the story in general or not. And like I think that would help me kind of weed through just like the first round of like things that I want to unhaul from especially my physical shelf. So I don't know. I might do a try a chapter tag at some point. I have always thought, like, what's the point in reading the first chapter? Like, why spend the time if you're not going to just read the whole book? But I think it would really help now that I'm, like, getting better about DNFing and unhauling and all that kind of stuff. I think it might be a good idea. So stay tuned for that potentially. But last night I decided, I've kind of been on a streak of like not great things. So let's just see if I can keep it going and keep getting stuff off my shelves. Like it's almost like addicting. Like bringing stuff in is kind of addicting, especially like the cheap stuff that I just did in December. And then also like clearing through and getting rid of the ones that aren't worth keeping is really addicting too. So please let me know if you guys understand or if I'm just like an addictive personality, which is also probably true. But anyway, so I thought, well, let's just keep going now that I'm in kind of a cutthroat mood. Let's see these ones that I'm like iffy about. Let's just check them out. So I started The Garden of Happy Endings by Barbara O'Neill. And this one I was really like sketchy about if I was going to like this or not because it says, where does it say? A powerful and intriguing story, rich in detailed and vivid descriptions. And you guys, if a book has too many descriptions, I'm just out. Like if it's too slow, if the descriptions are too much, I am just out. Like I can't even stay with it. And so this one I found on Scribd as well. So I started listening to it / reading it, and I'm actually really liking it. So this one is about two sisters. One is a reverend, and then the other is married to this guy who's like getting in trouble for embezzlement or something like that. And the two come together because the one who is a reverend, she witnesses like a pretty bad murder, and so her she doesn't witness it, but she is the one who discovers the body. And so her like parish is like, hey, you need to take a little sabbatical, take some time off, like just get your head right because that was a lot to deal with. And so she goes back home where her sister lives as well as kind of the one who got away. So she had this guy that she dated and like I think they were even engaged when they were younger, and they did the Camino, which is a walk like throughout Spain that is a like very it's a spiritual event, I think, and so I have read a lot about it. I don't know why. I like fell down a rabbit hole a few years ago about this Camino, and we went there, like we went and saw the start and end of it when we were in Europe, and it's just such an intriguing thing for me. But anyway, on that journey, her fiance, boyfriend, whatever, decided that he was going to become a priest, and they are Catholic, I believe, and so that means a vow of celibacy. So the engagement ended. She was really upset, and then she later decided to become a reverend as well. So that part like kind of bothers me because she is very real. She's very real throughout the book about like this is, I would say, like a Christian fiction. I don't think it's marketed that way, and Barbara O'Neill I don't think is typically a Christian fiction author, but this one is heavy in the spiritual element. So if that is not a thing for you, it's not preachy, but I mean it's all about like her faith and her relationship with God, and there's a lot of church talk because of course she's a reverend and she is one of the main characters, and so she like is very real in the fact that she talks about her struggles with faith, and I appreciate that, but like I almost feel like she became a reverend like kind of out of spite for this guy because he made the vow of celibacy, and she's like very clear about the fact that like screwed her over because then her fiance's gone, the love of her life is gone, and she like doesn't think she's ever going to find anybody else because this guy was her everything. And so now she's back, and I don't know what's going to happen with them. I am not Catholic, and so I don't know like the whole rules of celibacy and thing. Like in my faith, I am a non-denominational Christian, but if I had to designate one, I would say Methodist. And so the pastors and preachers and things are allowed to marry within that faith. So I don't know a whole lot about the rules with that. So I don't know if maybe it's going to be their romance or if it's going to be somebody else. I don't know. But her and the sister are bonding, and together, like as a community, both the guy and the sisters and that kind of stuff are making this like community garden. And so far I'm really liking it. The other thing that was like weird about this is I guess like our main character, I can't even remember her name, Elsa, because I always think like, do you want to build a snowman? Elsa and the guy, who I also don't know her his name, but it doesn't matter. I guess they have been friends the whole time, so like their relationship is just really weird. Like I don't quite understand the dynamics, because then that doesn't really feel healthy, because of course she's not going to move on if this guy is still in her life, but like I don't think he's like leading her on. I don't know. I can't quite figure it out, but so far so good. Like this is not, I would not say it's detailed and vivid description. I would say it's definitely like a character study, more of the community that they're building this garden around and things. But it's about the sisters. It's about, like, I don't know. I'm calling it a women's fiction. I don't think it's going to be like a super heavy romance, but maybe it is. I don't know. So that is what I'm reading. I don't think I'll finish that today because, like I said, I'm just kind of like going, trying to get stuff done. I feel like Sunday is kind of, the weekends are kind of a good time for that. Like I say Sunday, but I really try to do it all weekend. So now I'm going to film a little bit more, put the kids down for a nap, maybe read. But like my to-do list, guys, it just is like haunting me. And I'm going to try to do a like penguin unit with Ainsley coming up in the next week or two. And so I need to like use my new laminator and do stuff for that. And like most of you guys are probably rolling your eyes being like, girl, Miss Libby or whatever from Billy Madison. Like that's, oh man. Anyway, so I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to film my favorites of 2020. So if you, I'm not sure when, I think this will come out before that, but I think that's coming out this week. So keep your eyes out for that. If you've read any of the things that I read this weekend, let me know. I'm sorry we did not leave the house at all. I don't think last night Ainsley and Jeremy went outside to give bread to the animals. But other than that, I don't think I've left this house all weekend. So it has not been that exciting of a vlog. But this is my weekend. How was yours? Tell me all about it. Tell me what you did. Tell me what you read. Tell me what you've got going on this week. And we'll talk to you in the next one.